For this lesson, we're going to look at rotations in a coordinate plane. And a rotation is when we are making a turn, and we could turn clockwise or we can turn counterclockwise. If we're clockwise, means you're going the same direction a clock moves. Counterclockwise is the opposite direction of what a clock would move. We're just going to stick with some of the more basic rotations. We're going to look at 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and 270 degrees. And we are just going to rotate around the origin. And remember, that is the center of the coordinate plane, and that's at the point 0, 0. So we're just going to rotate around that center of our coordinate plane. There are a couple different ways we can do this. I am just going to go over what I feel is the easiest way to do a problem like this. It gets harder when you're on a computer, when you can't physically turn your screen. But you can kind of turn yourself sideways and count. So this will still work. So we're going to first start by writing down our ordered pairs for all of our points. So X is at the point, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. X is at 3, 6. Y is at 5, 1, 2, 3, 5, 3. And Z is at 2, 3. Okay. I'm going to clear that just so I don't have that on my graph as I'm turning now. So we're going to rotate, it says 90 degrees counterclockwise. So I'm going to take the shape and I'm going to rotate counterclockwise. That's the direction opposite a clock. But I'm only going to go 90 degrees. So in a coordinate plane, it's easy to tell 90 degrees because it's just one quadrant. So if I'm going 90 degrees, I'm going over here. If I had been going 180, that's another 90, because 90, 90 is 180. Another 90 would be here, which would be 270. So if I'm starting from this quadrant 1, 90 degrees counterclockwise is here, 180 counterclockwise, 270 counterclockwise. If I had been going clockwise, this would be 90 counterclockwise, 180 counterclockwise, 270, I'm sorry, clockwise. The purple is clockwise. So be careful what direction you're turning, not just what degrees, but what direction you're turning also. So we are going to turn for problem number 1 counterclockwise. So we are going to end up over here in this quadrant when I turn this 90 degrees counterclockwise. Turn your paper. So for example, our triangle right now that we're dealing with, it is in the top right, so quadrant 1. So when I'm looking at my paper, our pre-image is in the top right. I'm going to turn my paper or turn myself sideways so that this purple spot is in the top right. So now this purple X that we made is in the top right, just like our triangle was. So I'm going to clear that out so I can start marking this up. Now we're going to pretend that this is the proper way to hold our graph. And then this becomes our x-axis. This is now our y-axis. We're going to pretend this is the proper way to hold the graph. And then we're going to plot these same points again. So x was at 3, 6. We go over 1, 2, 3, and go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You don't have to make those marks. I'm just making those marks so you can see how I'm counting. And that will be x prime. Y is at 5, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3. So here is my y prime. And then z prime will be at 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 2, 3 is z prime. I'm just going to clean up those marks. I'm going to draw my triangle. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn my picture back around, or my paper in this case. And then if I look at it now my writing is sideways, but this pink triangle, my image is now 90 degrees counterclockwise from where we started with our pre-image. So we're just shifting all our numbers over. And let's look at what our ordered pairs are for our new shape. So x was 3, 6. Now x is at, let's see, it's negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is that negative 6, 3? Y, this is x prime. Y prime is at 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that 3, negative 3, 5? And z prime is at negative 3, 2. So if we compare where we were, 2, 3, to where we are, negative 3, 2, we are flipping. So the 2, our x was 2, our x went over here. Our y was 3, our y came over here, but it also became the opposite. So when we move 90 degrees counterclockwise, this is what's happening to our points. We flip our x and y, and then the y, the old y becomes negative when we move it. And we can kind of follow that for all of them. X was 5, now the y is a 5. Y was 3, now the x is 3, only it's the opposite, negative. But this is going to not always be like this. If we go 180 degrees, or if we go 270 degrees, or we go clockwise, then they're going to have different rules for each. And that's a lot of different rules to remember on what to do with your x and y, when to flip them, when to make them opposites. That's why I just like to turn it, or even just turn your body and imagine turning it and then replotting those points. So we're going to use that method again on number 2. So first we're just going to get our ordered pairs for these points. So A is at negative 1, negative 1. B is at negative 1, negative 4. And C is at negative 6, negative 1. And we're going to rotate 180 degrees clockwise. And actually 180 doesn't make a difference if I go 180 clockwise or 180 counterclockwise. We end up in the same spot. So that one doesn't actually make a difference. Either way, we're going to end up in this quadrant here. So if we use the same method we did before, I'm going to turn my paper, or I'm going to kind of imagine upside down. So basically I'm going to be graphing this one upside down. If I can't move my paper, I'll be graphing this one upside down. So I went, for A, I went left and down. So I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to go right and up. So my A prime should end up being here. And then for B, I went left and down. So left 1, down 4. So instead I'm going to go right 1 and up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm making everything the exact opposite, because I'm imagining if I were to physically turn this paper like I did last time, it would just be upside down. So now I'm just going to plot everything as if it were upside down. C, I went left 6 and down 1. So I'll go right 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And up 1. And that's C prime. Then I can connect my dots. So again, I could physically turn the paper. And this is in the bottom left. So I would turn my paper until this quadrant here is in the bottom left. and then replot these points. But instead of turning the paper, I know that that is just completely turning it upside down. So instead of having to turn it, because I can't turn a screen, I can just plot my points upside down, backwards. So instead of going left, I go right. Instead of going up, I go down. And just do everything backwards.